Hello everyone, Craig DeLuz here from NRA 2025 annual meeting. We're having a good time here in Atlanta. Had a chance to run into some really good folks. We've been doing these interviews this is my second day now. Anyway, we're having a good time. Good friend of mine was just walking by and I just grabbed him and said, hey, you got to come talk with me. So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the program, Mr. Kevin Dixie from No Other Choice. And you brought a guest with you.
I did bring a guest. Man, first of all, how you been doing?
Man, I am blessed, sir. I am blessed.
It's good, man. It's always good to see you. And always in the space of freedom. Yes, I am Kevin Dixie, but I'm not important today. My guest is important. So this is Dannielle. I'll let her really introduce herself, but we brought her on at No Other Choice as our female instructor to kind of help expand the vision of freedom and making women feel comfortable and let them know that we support them and believe in them and we want to put professionals in front of them and help them out. But this is Dannielle.
Hi, yes, I'm Dannielle, and I am a female firearm instructor with No Other Choice. I also work with women from domestic violence and trying to actually work with more organizations who are also supporting women from domestic violence. And I do female firearm training.
So now, how long have you been a firearms instructor?
So, look, I'm like, I don't know exactly how many years. I've been asked that in a while. Maybe, 2016, 17? It's been a while.
Call it 8 years.
Huh?
Let's call it 8 years.
Yeah.
We'll call it 8 years. Excellent. So, do you find it easier training men or women?
I definitely find it easier training women. When it comes to men, it's a lot of ego that sort of comes into it. So it's more of they want to have a shoot off with me, and then if I win and I actually do, show off, then they want to argue me down about how they won or some reason that they won anyway. So I'd rather just train with the women and at least they'll listen to me and follow directions.
Stop trying to tell my business. Why? Don't attack me.
Well, that's not unique. Even male instructors I know say it is so much easier to instruct women than it is to instruct men.
Yeah. And I say it all the time. Women, you give them direction and they actually listen to it and make sense of it and then they follow it. While men, they sort of see, okay, this is what she said to do, but I like it better this way. And then they sort of change what you say a little bit, and it's okay.
Yeah, as long as you're not married to them.
Oh, yeah. Then that's totally different. Then that's different. Then it's what you say goes. It should be, right? Because then you can give them punishment,
Man,
But
I don't even attempt it.
Right, but it's not the same when you just train it.
What motivated you to become an instructor?
So I was in a domestic violence situation with my ex-husband, and at the time I just felt like I didn't have any resources to, I guess you could say, figure out how to keep myself safe and keep my kids safe. So that alone just made me want to look for different ways of just being able to help myself. So I started doing, I guess you could say, I started looking at hand-to-hand classes and stuff like that, and I realized being that close to somebody that's attacking you wasn't really comfortable for me. So from there, I started getting into firearms, and while training myself, I had a lot of women that actually came out to the range and were with men, and they weren't really comfortable with the men that they were training with, and they asked me if I could help, and from there, I decided that I was going to become an instructor and do it the right way. So,
do you find that as soon as women find out that you're into firearms, they all of a sudden start asking you a bunch of questions and advice and want to go to the range shooting with you?
yeah, especially when they see me on an everyday. So when they see me in my normal, my everyday, I'm not out in the range all geared up. That's even more reason they want to ask me, hey, how do you carry every day? And why do you do what you do? And do you think it's a good idea to have a gun? There's so many questions that come with it. So
now, Kevin, tell us a little bit about No Other Choice, how you got started, how you came up with the name No Other Choice.
Oh man, that's interesting. So back in 2001, when I was with the St. Louis City PD, I worked in our prisoner processing division, and when you start looking at the GWOT, right, the Global War on Terror, when our boys and girls started coming back home from that first tour, America was in a situation where they were like, we want to defend ourselves, right? Like America as a whole. And then you had all these individuals that went out and, well, guess what? Well, if anybody's going to teach us, it's got to be the people that just went and fought the people that made her scared, right? So you had this boom in tactical training, right? And nothing was wrong with that. And I'm looking at it, I'm like, okay, now I'm a young kid at the time, but I'm looking at it and I'm seeing all these aggressive names, you know, all this is how we're going to eliminate the enemy. And all that is cool because there is a certain mindset where you have to, as Ken Scott says, be the switch, and you have to really get after that. At the same time, we all bring unique experiences to the table. One of the unique experiences I had was understanding that, hey guys, while you might be out just teaching people like, hey, it's murder, death, kill academy or whatever, understand something. I'm the one that's sending this guy up for 25 years. I'm the one that's watching his life leave his eyes. I'm the one that's watching his family beat against glass because they want to touch their dad. And the only thing we're saying is, oh, well, the system should be different. Well, in the meantime, we aren't properly educating people about how to avoid being in my custody. All right, because that's what we should be doing. So I realized not only was that a problem overall, then I also realized that people thought self-defense was common sense. Oh, you punch me, I'll shoot you. I'm like, no, that's not the way that this works. So I started realizing that there were really good people like you, people like me, people like her, that were making these decisions uninformed, just ignorant to the law. Good people thought they were doing the right thing, lost everything, right? Or it cost them everything to just maintain their freedom, right? So I'm like, okay, what do we need to do to balance this out? And that's when I started No Other Choice. And the thought process is you should be at a point of no other choice before you ever cause a negative impact to another human being, even if they, what you believe to say, deserve it, right? Extend God's grace and mercy to others as you would want extended to you. However, if they leave you with no other choice and your back's against the wall, you will do your job with extreme prejudice. You will go home and we're going to try to keep you out of prison at the same time. That's where No Other Choice comes from. So it's not saying we're passive, we're emotionally intelligent. And we're going to do everything to avoid a conflict. You can MF me all day, you can tell me what you're going to do to me, you can do everything. But if you're not going to hurt me or harm me, or I can avoid it by walking away from you, we'll do that. If you leave me with no other choice, we have to get busy.
It's amazing, and I can't tell you the number of times I have to have this conversation with people who are not privy to the firearms community or firearms training, is that most of the training that you get is about conflict avoidance. Oh. They think that because you want to carry a gun, you're looking for trouble. No, you realize there's trouble out there. Right. And a big part of the understanding of this is, you win 100% of the gunfights you don't get into.
Absolutely.
You win 100% of the fights you don't get into.
Absolutely.
And so the idea really is about a culture of conflict avoidance as opposed to seeking out conflict.
Absolutely.
Now, what sorts of things do you guys utilize, or do you teach in terms of give me some examples of some conflict avoidance type techniques that you guys teach?
You want to go first, or you want me to go?
I mean, mine will be situation awareness. Paying attention to things that's going on around you, so that way you can sort of avoid the conflicts and avoid situations. And then just avoidance. I mean,
I tell people, kill their ego. Kill your ego. Because while we haven't, let's stick it to men for a second. While we having most of these issues that we have in the streets, ego and pride, man. Like kill your ego. Get your ego out the way. And then the way that I expand that is no different when we do our mentorship with the children. But I would tell grown men to think about it like this. Greg, you have a story. There's a story attached to you as a person. There are some things that you went through that I'm pretty sure in your quiet moments you're like, I made it through that, right? Like it could be something happened when you were 16, but you're like, as a grown man, like, man, I'm glad I made it through that. And what I would notice from most men, I saw it flicking at us, what I would notice from most men is that they would, whenever we're sitting around as homies or whatever and we're having conversation, you would hear people say things like, the way I used to be. Or if you would have tried me when I was like this, I would have done this. I'm like, well, the reason why you're still having these conflicts is because you're still in that mindset, right? You're still in the, damn, I made it through era. So what I try to convince adults is, look at this, man. If you are not trying to avoid and get yourself out of this situation because your pride and ego are driving you, it might take that individual 3 seconds It might take you a second to respond. 4 seconds could cost you 40 years. Because you're so headstrong on winning these battles. Instead of saying, I've made it through that, and basking in that. So if Craig tries to yell at me, like Craig gets in my face, it's like, you know what, I've always wanted to just break your face, and you're just talking to me. Now I might be ready to defend myself. I'm like, Craig, you know what, man? Hey, I'll see you at the kickback tonight, man. Hopefully you're in a better mood, because I no longer have anything to prove. I've survived these situations. I'm done, and I think most adults can relate. Like, we're done. So I try to explain that to people and let them know, like, we are not in the business of no longer trying to prove who we are. And so what I tell people is this: if you are trying to prove to people who you are, so that means that you smack them in the face, you want to fight them, you really aren't proving to people who you are. You're proving to people who you aren't. Because that 16-year-old you, that 22-year-old you, that 25-year-old you, you're still the same person, masquerading as a changed individual. I just needed the code to the lock, brother. Yeah. And so I start off with conversations like that. Like, grow up, and guess what? You got to be real with people too. When you walk away from a conflict, oh, you might cry. You might be jittery. You might have, I wish I should have and I could have. But you know what, man? You get to go home. You get to go sit in your house. You get to go to the bar at night. You get to talk to your girl. You get to go hug your wife. You get to do whatever you wanted to do because you didn't. So let that go. Let's kill your ego and your pride, man.
Seems like it would be a winning.
Now, tell folks a little bit about. So you have a facility here in Georgia.
Yeah, outdoor. I like the word you use, though, facility, because we're going to speak it into existence. So what I did, I've been doing community outreach for a long time, pretty much simultaneously while I've been doing firearms training, give or take a couple of years. And what I did, I moved to Atlanta about 5 years ago, and I've always wanted a place for people to feel comfortable, right? I've always wanted a place, not just for gun folks, but for the kids that we're trying to reach and help. So I did. I bought 40 acres of land down here, and that's exactly what we're doing. Now, it's called the Greenwood Project, named after the 1921 Tulsa, Oklahoma massacre. And the tagline is, rebuilding what was lost, ready to defend it at all costs.
Like that.
Right? So we are educating the kids, like the kids that come out. We have the kids from the Kids to Kings program here this weekend. I'm going to take this time to give special thanks to Ruger to actually pick them up as a shooting club. So Ruger's fully sponsored them. Like, the kids got everything they could possibly want. Big shout out to Ruger. But on that land, what we're doing is that we are having firearms training, yes, but we're doing reading, writing, financial literacy, conflict resolution. So like, if the kids come out and they shoot for, say, 2 hours, then it's 2 hours of a life building skill. It's always coupled with something, even if it's just we're going over physical fitness that day. We're talking about mental health. We're talking about conflict avoidance. We're letting them vent about frustrations at school that week. So 2 hours of shooting, 2 hours of life building, right? Where the guns are no longer part of our conversation. So and then we're opening it up to families too. We have our garden that's going to be put up this year. We have our garden that's going to be risen. So then we want to bring kids out and families out so they can actually get back into the earth. But then on top of that, so you got a place to come garden. You got a place where we're going to have a miniature farm out there. We're going to have archery, right? We got guns already. Plenty of places we're going to have camping. Like, I want this to be a place where people can come build, right? They can come build, they can get better, they can learn. But even when the kids grow the produce from the garden, then we're going to teach them not only to harvest it, but how do you market it? What's your total cost that went into this product? And then how do you sell it, right? So how do they understand that we're not only doing this, I'm actually learning how to be an entrepreneur, coupled with all these other skills. So the goal is to build better human beings, and then let them know that the equity you're putting into your life, that's where this gun comes in at. That gun is protecting the equity you're building. But we want, so that's what Greenwood is, long story short. But yeah, we're right 45 minutes south of where we're at now. 40 beautiful acres, and I also have to say that is not possible without, because people constantly give, and some rightfully so, constantly give the gun community crap about not stepping up and putting their money where their mouth is, right? In all kind of different ways. Well, I do want to say this. We also have to shout out when people do it. So Greenwood is not possible without the help of Brownells and the USCCA. So much love and respect and admiration and all the joy that I can give back to those two organizations for making that happen. And now Ruger jumping on board and making sure that we're able to do it. So the Greenwood is possible because of the 2A community, because of these brands and organizations that stood up and said, we want to help Americans be better. We want to get some of these kids out of these environments and help them out. And because before anybody listens to it, Greg, and they say, Oh, that's great. We might be looking at this guy on camera. We're looking at even, Dannielle here on camera, and we're listening to what he's saying. He's got to be talking about those young urban kids. Yes, I am. And I'm also talking about your young rural children. Because guess what? All of them can't read either, right? But some of them need to get off the tablets at home too, and they need to get back into the earth, right? So yes, we started off with the idea from that environment. That's where I come from. So obviously I'm an expert at it, right? I have that experience, but I can't look at Craig or Steve or whoever as a human being and they have a child that is not from that environment or doesn't have the same hue as I do, and they're like, hey man, I want to learn how to shoot so I can protect my family, and I want to get my kid involved in some of these programs. I don't want you thinking that you have to be outcast. It's like, no, not dark enough, man. Put the meter up to you and then pass the paper bag test. You can't come in. No, we're here for all Americans. We're willing to help anybody. That's what Greenwood is. As long as you come with an American spirit, you can love your fellow brother and neighbor. You don't come with hate in your heart. You're welcome there. We want to help you get better. We want you to protect what you have in your life and help you build a better life. So that's what we want.
How do folks reach out, learn more about what you're doing over in NOC, and or support what you're doing?
That's great. So if you want to support, we greatly appreciate you going to givesendgo.com/Greenwood. You can read all about it. You can see everything about it. You can donate right there. We're always looking for people that are willing to come put their hands in the earth too and help do stuff. So even if you got manual labor, we're always looking for that. You can find me at nootherchoice.com if you want to do firearms training. All my classes are there. You can also email us at info@nootherchoice.com. And if you're looking for us on social media, it's the real REAL_NOC, and they can find you how?
On Instagram at defensive DEFENSIVE_unicorns UNICORNS.
Thank you so much for coming on the program. Hope you have a good rest of your show.
My pleasure, brother. Thank you.
All right. All right, folks, well, we're going to be right back, or back eventually, with some more interviews here from NRA Annual Meeting 2025. We'll see you again